like to welcome you to BOI MEETS WELLNESS, a podcast that discusses the complexities, celebrations, and challenges of building a wellness ritual as a BOI, a person who is born obviously incredible. You are now listening to BOI MEETS WELLNESS with poet, motivational speaker, and wellness lover, Benton.
BOI, born obviously incredible, especially when you wear it pretty.
Hello, incredible family. It's your boy, Benton. Welcome to BOI MEETS WELLNESS. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, I thank you for jumping in. BOI MEETS WELLNESS is a podcast that shares the stories of people who are born obviously incredible with a focus on money, mindset, and motivation. Today's interview features credit expert Denna Hebert. Before we jump into the interview, I'd like to share my wellness tip for you of the week. Are you having trouble getting sleep during the COVID-19 pandemic? Well, you are not alone. A good night's sleep is paramount for the health of your brain, body, and immune system. However, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to spread, anxiety and worry, along with it, getting a healthy amount of sleep probably isn't as easy as it used to be. And getting good sleep is more important now than ever for our immune systems. So here are 3 tips to support you with a healthy amount of quality sleep. Number 1, move your body throughout the day. And if it's possible, walk outside and get some sun. Expert and wellness guru Shawn Stevenson, one of my favorite people in the world, speaks about this in his book, Sleep Smarter. Our bodies love the sun, and the sun drains our energy so that we're able to sleep better at night. So if possible, getting out in the sun, getting a good walk during the day, try to do that. Number 2, decrease your access to blue lights. Blue lights are the lights that come from your television screen, computer, laptop, tablet, phone. If you look around outside at night and you look at people's windows, you'll see a glaring blue light coming from their window shades when they're watching TV. That's the blue light that we're talking about. This blue light often decreases our quality of sleep because it keeps us up at night and promotes insomnia. So decreasing your screen time as you get towards your time of sleep will really support in getting some healthy quality sleep at night. So maybe an hour or 2 hours before, not watching TV, sitting down and getting grounded, laying down, maybe not taking screens into the place that you sleep. I know me, I try to keep my phone on the side of the bed instead of in the bed. Different strategy you can do to decrease your access to blue lights. And then number 3, we want to use gratitude and mindfulness practices to ground ourselves before bed. I'm actually going to be dropping a gratitude journal this summer. So a gratitude journal is a place where you can write things you're grateful for every day. I try to do it daily, usually in the morning. And this gets you grounded in yourself and also in things you have to be grateful for that are around you. So I would suggest using this practice at night if you can, perhaps doing some mindfulness. And people are often like, do I want to meditate or do mindfulness before bed? It's going to make me sleepy. But in this intention, we're trying to do that because we're trying to get good quality sleep. If you're interested in that gratitude journal that I mentioned, you can head over to boimeetswellness.com, click on Stay Connected and fill out the form, and you'll be the first to know when the gratitude journal drops. So to recap, 3 tips to improve your quality sleep: movement of the body with some sun exposure, decrease access to blue lights, and find time for meditation and gratitude at the end of your day. Today's episode is brought to you by Mar Media Productions. Mar Media is a media production company that produces, publishes, and uplifts the stories, art, and journeys of queer and trans people of color and the people who make their lives incredible. If you like some incredible clothing, we launched a clothing called Boy Gear in January of 2020. We have boy shirts, hoodies, and our summer line drops in late June, so look out for our new additions, which will include some tank tops and fanny packs. You can cop some boy gear at boimeetswellness.com. Just click the tab Boy Gear and it'll take you straight to the site. Use the code 25OFF for free shipping. Don't forget, that's 25. You don't have to spell out 25, literally the number 25 and the word off, OFF, for free shipping. And that's boimeetswellness.com. Click the tab Boy Gear. Now let's jump into our interview with Denna Hebert, tax expert. Denna Hebert is an Oakland native and a financial literacy coach. She is passionate about teaching and empowering the LGBTQIA community about the power of credit and entrepreneurship. Denna's mission is inclusion and education for those seeking options to create and have multiple streams of income. Denna is an impactful, dedicated leader with a diverse and successful organization. Denna, do you mind introducing yourself to the community, your pronouns, and what brings you joy?
All right, all right. My name is Denna Hebert of LM Hebert _ Financial Services. That is where you will find me on Instagram as well as Facebook. My pronouns are pretty simple. I am just a she and a her. I identify as female, and that's what I roll with. And what brings me the utmost joy is being able to share myself is in any way possible in a good way with others. It brings me absolute joy.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. I often tell folks I feel like I'm a connector in my life, so that brings me joy. So I'm really, really feeling grateful to have you here, a part of Boy Meets Wellness, and to introduce you to the community. So can you do me a favor and just tell people, like, who are some incredible people in your life?
Oh man, I first have to always give it up to the Most High. Everybody has to identifies him, her in different ways. Lord, Jesus, God. I say the Most High. The Most High, my mother who passed in 2018, and my grandmother. And I'm going to throw in my wife because those are the three most important human beings that have been on this earth for me thus far in life.
Nice, nice. Congrats on that. Weddings and marriages, and I mean, taking that next step is a beautiful thing. And thank you definitely for bringing that ancestor in the space, bringing your mother into the space. As someone who has lost their mother as well, I think it's always beautiful to connect with other folks who still have that very strong spiritual connection. You know, because they're still with us and they're still supporting us. Where are you located compared to where you're located now? Like, where were you born? I think it's always important, especially in the social media world, for folks to see like how far we've gone. Oftentimes people think we're still living where we were born, but yeah, where are you now? Where are you at now in this COVID-19 pandemic, and where were you born and raised?
I'm born and raised in Oakland, California, and I've only moved a couple of cities over right to Hayward, and that is where I live currently. But I now own a property in Oakland, so I always remain Oakland to the heart. And I always say I'm from the real Oakland, not this new age Oakland. I'm from Oakland, the original Oakland.
Okay, yay area in the building, yay area in the
Yeah.
building. That's what's up, and that's nice, nice. You own a property. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, like being here in Oakland, I think I'm in the Bay. I'm in Walnut Creek. I'm not in Oakland. I
Oh.
lived there for about a year, and then I got pushed out this way. But what it amazes me is how many folks, have a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 6 or whatever their job is, and then they have all these side hustles, all these amazing things that they do, and that's how I was able to really find you, being connected to other people in the financial world and seeing people do financial education. And that's really what attracted me to your work. So I just, I really appreciate the work that you're doing, making it accessible. So can you tell the community just a little bit about, why you chose financial education as, a job, as a way to pay the bills, way to make money, and what was your trajectory in doing that work, and what are some other side hustles that maybe you have going on that you want the community to know about?
I got started this, and believe it or not, this is the phrase I use most is a quote I got from Jim Rohn, and I say that my full-time job is there as I'm working on my hustle until my hustle becomes my full-time job. And right now, I do financial education services. I got in this by my wife edging me in. She said, I already have bad credit. Growing up, it's so funny because my mother, she was a stickler for finances. I mean, pages and pages and pages of budgets. She's always running the numbers, and everything got to meet up. We can't do that right now because it's in the budget. She always had excellent credit, and she tried to teach me these things really young, and basically too young for my understanding because it just went right over my head. Missed the whole financial lesson. So as I got older, mismanaging money was one of my strong suits, not a good one to say. But needless to say, once me and my wife decided that we were going to move forward in life, it was imperative that I got my credit right because you can't plan a future without your credit. That's a part of the future. When you want to buy a home or when you're looking to get a better car, you need credit. And so she said it's time to get started. I got started repairing my credit with our company, and I got good results soon, quickly. So I'm like, okay, well, I know it works because I saw the results. So in that point, I'm like, okay, well, I should be helping other people and sharing this knowledge too. And fast forward, here I am 2 years later. I'm still doing this. I'm still working with financial education, especially in the credit part. That's where I'm there for. And the part time, full time is my job as an essential worker, quote unquote, as a bus operator, bus driver. So I always tell people I'm just trying to drive people to good credit.
Oh, I know that's beautiful. We better put those two brands together, right? Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. So yeah, credit, it's very interesting that you mentioned that, talking about it in the household. I remember hearing so many jokes about credit being bad and like it was funny to have bad credit. Like it was almost like a thing that like Black folks in my community didn't believe they could establish, right? So it was very interesting to hear about like that stickler. And I went into the same thing. I got into college and got like crazy credit card debt because I had no concept of it, and I had no concept of how it's connected to my future. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Like maybe just give us like the basic 101 of how you speak to your clients about the value of credit, when we'll need it. Because I think, it often comes up with folks in their 30s, right? Because they're trying to move into that next step of their lives. But a lot of our listeners, I hope that my younger cousins are listening to this. I always send them my podcast. They're in their like 20s, right? Like there's stuff that they could be doing now to really establish that. So my question for you is like, what are the importance of having good credit and how can we utilize that as a strategy for our future?
The importance right now, credit is vital. Right now, we're in COVID-19. We're in the midst of this pandemic. And I don't know if you've seen on different news media outlets, home mortgage lenders, they're changing their credit criteria by a large amount. By some FHA, people were getting FHA loans previously at a credit score of 420 got you in. And now, a 620 got you in. And now they've moved it up to 680. Chase used to be 650. Now it's 700. So for the young people today, my young people out there, what I want to say to you is credit is important and it is vital. We live in the internet age where you can become a millionaire at the age of 18, fresh out the gate, young as you want to be as a millionaire. And even as a millionaire, it's important to have your credit in line. Why? Because you want to be able to use your money to leverage your money. We use credit to leverage our credit. So you want to keep that in a good standing so that even though you have all this money, you have the credit behind it so that you're leveraging your credit instead of utilizing all the money that you have. And you do that by starting young. Just because they offer you a credit card does not mean you have to take it. And if you do take it, it does not mean you have to abuse it. I can share my personal story. When I first graduated high school, straight went to the community college. They had on campus, they had 3 different credit companies. Soon, keep in mind, 18 years old, and I'm going to pick up my class schedule, but I was super duper hungry. I was starving that day, and they had all the king size bags of Skittles. And all I knew was that I wanted some Skittles. Needless to say, I got the Skittles. I got 2 credit cards. My first 2-3 years in my credit history was all bad because although, like I said, my mother tried to tell me about credit, I missed that lesson. I had a $500 limit. So in my mind, I had $500. So needless to say, I ruined my credit very young. Hindsight, I would have listen to my mother first and foremost. Secondly, at this day and age, we have so much information available to us that lack of knowledge shouldn't be an excuse. It shouldn't be an excuse. So get your credit card if you are going to get one. If it's $100, $500 limit, $300 limit, keep your utilization low And utilization, for all those of you who don't know, that means how much you use it. That means if you have $500 limit, you don't have $500 to use, keep it below 150, which is at 30%, and pay on time and build your credit history from there. If you have your parents are having good credit, I would even suggest if they'll allow you, or if they will allow, they could add you to their good lines of credit so that you can start establishing credit early. But I definitely would say to young people, take advantage of the internet. There's nothing you can't look up right now, and change your mindset, because mindset is so important. In this internet age and social media age, we have so much keeping up with the Joneses, right? So everybody is trying to keep up with other people's highlight reel. Everybody don't have what they have, what they're showing on the internet, what they have. So don't get out the mind frame. Try to work yourself out of the mind frame of keeping up with other people and working with what you have, with what you have, excuse me. And that's the first step to getting your credit life in order, financially and above.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think what you're talking about is spot on, because I found myself feeling that, seeing people buy homes, and then I'm like, but they in Texas, you know what I'm saying? Like really having to like evaluate the deals and the opportunities that people have. And then also knowing that it's a bigger picture to everything. Like I think social media in the world has created us to believe that there's like a step process, right? Like you either have money or you don't, right? Like you either have good credit or you don't, when it's really often like that bag of Skittles, a very mixed bag that creates success, right? And I think what we have to figure out is how to leverage and do things in a healthy way and not an abusive way. So I love that you talked about like folks abusing credit. So for folks who are older, right? Like, and I'm thinking about even someone like my father, right? Like who has a history of bad credit. What are ways that you work with them on doing some of that mindset shift and healing? Do you go as far as being like, Dave Ramsey, who says, cut up all your credit cards? Or do you feel like there's like a system that people can utilize to kind of figure out how to shift their mindset and not keep accumulating debt?
Dave Ramsey, that's a good example. For older people, and even for anybody, I always tell people to start small. And you want to celebrate your small victories, and you start small. Start paying off those smaller debts that you have that can be paid off. I don't cutting up credit cards. Hey, I like that idea too. Freezing them in the cup, put it in the cup and freezing it. That works well for the older generation, because as we know, with the younger generation and internet age, I always recommend people to not save their credit card information on any website, because what that does is it makes you use it. So for older people, yes, you can do that. I would also say budgeting, because a lot of the issues we face when it comes to credit is not utilizing a budget and not following a budget. So I always say utilize the budgeting system so that you can know how much money you actually have, where the money is going, where is it coming from, how much you have. Keep that balance. Secondly, I would say to learn to manage life without credit. Thirdly, I would say to not focus on the debt. And what I mean by not focus on the debt is that our mind works by what we tell it. So if we're constantly saying, I got so much bills, I got so many bills, I got so many bills, you're going to stay having so many bills. So I always encourage people to pay the smallest bill off first, the smallest loan off first. Celebrate your small victories, and then you can graduate to the big ones. Throughout that time, while you're working on building and establishing your credit, don't apply for new credit. That's like rule number one. Oftentimes we feel like now that we're in a better position, so that means let me go out and get some more credit. And that is how you got there in the first place. So the mind shift begins with understanding what you have as far as with the budget. And then secondly, paying off what you have right now. And thirdly, not going further into debt.
You better preach. You better preach. So what I really appreciate about your company is the fact that you offer all of these services, right? Like I was checking out your website, and it's everything from budgeting to, credit repair to having an understanding about like savings. So can you tell folks a little bit like what you offer to your clients, and maybe even how to get involved with you if they wanted to?
Of course I can. I'd love to. What we have is it's a whole protection plan. We call it the protection plan, and it's not just credit repair because of course people want to build credit and get credit better, but if you don't understand how credit works, then there's really no need to build your credit. If you don't understand or if you don't have the mindset to accept good credit and to work on good credit and maintain and keep good credit, then why are you really doing it? So our service, you get, of course, we do the credit repair where we draft and create those dispute letters for you, disputing all negative items from all three credit bureaus at the same time, because we want to shorten the process. We don't want to pick and choose. If you can do it all at one time, why not do that? You only are responsible, of course, for mailing those letters off. You mail the letters off, you wait 45 days. A lot of people, when they're doing credit repair on their own, what they forget is that one, credit bureaus have to respond for you. And two, once you get those responses, if you don't know how to if you don't understand what you're reading, then you don't take the next step. So step two for us is to get those results back to us, our company, so that we can create the second round of dispute letters. People give up after the first round, not knowing that you have infinite amount of times. If you know that something is incorrect, then you keep doing that. You keep disputing that. Included in our protection plan program, like you said, we have something else we have is what we call a credit builder. And it's like a credit encyclopedia because it gives you more information about credit. It offers you different types of letters because sometimes you need to pay a settlement. You may need a settlement letter. A lot of times people believe that just because they paid something off, that it's coming off of your credit report. And that's simply not the case. You need those settlement letters and you need to get that kind of stuff in writing so that if you are paying it off, you're paying for a deletion. So we have credit builder. We have identity theft protection, identity monitoring. We also have credit lawyers within our protection plan program. And the credit lawyers are there for items that they're stubborn coming off that are legitimately not your credit items, not items that belong to you. They're here to help you with that. And we have a smart credit tool. Okay, this one's one of my favorites. So everybody is familiar with Credit Karma. What we have is something similar to Credit Karma, but I believe it's better. How our credit monitoring program or app works is that not only does it show you what your score is right now, but it gives you a projected credit score. Everybody is not capable of receiving that 850 perfect credit score. So it gives you a realistic outlook as to what you can do to get your highest possible credit score with what you have right now. Because a lot of people don't know. Prime example, myself. I used Smart Credit and helped increase my own credit score by an additional 72 points just by paying $1,500 in debt. Sometimes it's as simple as decreasing the amount you owe, so paying your utilization. It's a fabulous tool. That's one of my favorite tools that we have. And we also have a living will and trust that's included in our protection plan. It's simple. You answer the questions on the online format, and the same credit type attorneys, they're going to call you just to verify your answers. And because sometimes we say stuff put stuff on our will that doesn't really make sense legally, but it's what we thought in our head. So they'll call you to, make sure that information is correct, and you'll have a living will and trust, because it's not just for the wealthy, it's for us too. If the 1% is getting wealthy off the 99%, that means that once we pass us 99%, we're leaving a lot on the table for the government instead of for our family. So it's an awesome tool. I wish I would have utilized it for my mother. We didn't take advantage of that. I told her the night before she passed, I said, next week, Mom, we got to get this done. And unfortunately, we didn't get that done. Fast forward, I now have her property, but it's cost me $20,000 in probate fees. So wow. Will trust power of attorney, something that is vital to have, vital to have. And we are here to help with that. If anybody is looking to get started or get more information, you can find me on Instagram, Denna Hebert, DENNA HEBERT. On social media, Instagram, LM He-Bert. my last name, underscore financial services. And the LM Hebert is my mother's name, Linda Marie Hebert, financial services, because she was the brainstorm behind finances. And our protection plan is basically everything that she would have done and was doing without even knowing what she was doing.
That's real. That's what's up. I'm loving that you're honoring her, in all of this. So I heard you say earlier you got the property in Oakland. So is that her old property and you're living out here in Hayward, or is Hayward her property and there's another property in Oakland?
Oakland property is her property, and right now we are getting the work done. We're going to turn that actually into a boarding home. That's part of utilizing the gifts that we are receiving from our parents and utilizing that ownership and leveraging credit. Because the thing about it is, I wouldn't have, not only that I inherited her property, yes, but I didn't get to inherit her mortgage. I still have to finance. We still have to finance. And part of that financing still relies on my credit. So that's where credit is also essential. We live in Hayward. The property we have in Oakland, we're going to turn that into a boarding home. And we're looking to house people. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. And we're looking to get people that need some housing in there. So we want to pay it forward. My mother would have paid it forward. She always said, as long as I have some place to stay, you have some place to stay. So as long as I have her property, somebody has some place to stay.
Nice, nice. So you mentioned a boarding home. Can you explain to the community a little bit about what's the difference between like a boarding home or, renting?
Usually, people rent rooms. That's just paying. You live someone's house, you pay them rent to rent out the room. The boarding home is it's going to be us taking care of the people as well. So it's not just renting a bed in our room, in our home. We'll be providing 3 meals. We'll be providing some services because we have other business partners and people that have careers. So we're going to be providing some services to them. We know someone who's in the IT field who's going to be offering some computer training for our people. Of course, we have financial literacy that we are going to offer. And we possibly may even go more towards transitional housing instead of just boarding care and taking care of folks. We are torn between the two. Transitional meaning transitioning them from one stage in life into the next independent stage. I was thinking more along the lines of LGBT youth or women from prison. But there's so much red tape with all of that. So we're still trying to navigate through that. And the boarding home, of course, like I said, is they have the room, they're able to stay there, they're provided meals and service.
Nice, nice. Thank you for breaking that down. Yeah, I think transitional living is so interesting. I used to work for a group home in North Hills, California. And those transitional homes really were supportive for getting a lot of those youth to that next stage. So I really hope that whether it's a boarding home or transitional living, that that it happens. And I hate to say it, that it doesn't get caught up in the red tape. I don't want to I don't even want to bring that into the aura of this situation. Like, let's just put it out, because it's just so many things when you want to support communities that often are supported. So thank you for sharing that. Do you have any other money plans as far as real estate, or is this like your first time landing in it? My question for you is, like, do you have any other plans in real estate, and are there any cons or pros that you want to tell our community about as far as the experience that you've had now? Because yours is very unique, right? Like, it's something that you inherited, and a lot of people automatically think like that's a come up, but sometimes it can be hard.
Man, you ain't never lied. Boy, I tell you, my experience, this is my first real experience with real estate. And like we just said, it got put in my lap, and here it is. And it's not a simple, now it's yours, you do what you want with it, because there's still money to be invested. I have to invest money into putting the home back together. Like, it's an older home, so with that comes updates. You have to update it to the current standards. So that's part of the plan as well, which of course goes right back to credit because it requires finance, and I just don't happen to have $300,000 laying around or the extra $80,000 laying around right now. So it all goes back to credit and financing. That's that for that property, at least. For future, or we plan, because my wife and I, we work together side by side. And for future plans, more real estate, actually. One thing that I've been telling people or suggesting to people, especially my clients that are eager to purchase their first home, I always offer the suggestion of a duplex, a triplex, or even a fourplex. Especially one thing we did learn is even if you're getting like a FHA loan, they will lend you up to 4 doors. So you don't have to just make your end all be all be your home, your house, when you can invest into a property that can be used as a rental property and let that person pay the mortgage so that you're living yourself rent free. And that is my goal. Our next property is going to actually, we're trying to find a duplex right now. Like literally in this moment, we're in the phase of looking for duplexes and triplexes, because part of it is being able to live in any situation for a little while, right? So you want to make sure that you're leveraging your real estate for your lifestyle as well. Not everybody is comfortable, of course, maybe not be comfortable with someone living upstairs or downstairs, depending on their current living situation. But if I'm going to be living in a 2-bedroom apartment, I'm going to own the building. That's the way I see it now.
I say, I know that's right. I know that's right.
So before you buy that big 3-bedroom house and you invest all your money into buying this house, keep in mind that when you are trying to buy a home, that's just another stream of debt. In all honesty, when you're getting a home and you're getting these mortgages and these mortgage loans, that is another stream of debt. That is not an asset. A home is not an asset unless it's paying for itself plus some. So in order for it to pay for itself plus some, that's when I always suggest a duplex or a triplex, something where you can live rent free and the home can pay for itself. So that's my future goal, and that's the future goal that I like to throw out to people who are looking towards getting a home or making their first home purchase.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for sharing that with us. It takes a lot of courage to put your dreams out there, right? Like, it's like, oh,
Right.
wait, do I tell the world what I'm trying to do? But we're going to, listen to this, shoot, a few months from now, because you out there looking right now, and next thing you know, you'll have that home. So thank you for bringing that to the community, and thank you for shifting that lens, right? Because often I think a lot of our wants are based off what we've seen. Like, I feel like we've been programmed in a way, right? So we see this big house, but people don't think about the apartment they living in right now and how they can own that, right? Like, they think that the level up is just the ownership, but it's also the strategy. So that's really, really, really dope. So I want to shift the lens a little bit. We talked a lot about your business, and I want to talk a little bit about you. Like, how do you take care of yourself? What are some wellness practices? Because I know in order for you to have this much strategy and intention, to be shifting your mind with money, building your credit, looking at building up a property that's going to support other people, I know you got to be taking care of yourself. I always say we can't come from a vessel that is half full, right? It's got to be overflowing. So what are some wellness practices that you would share with our community?
I have just recently begun coming back to spending time with my mother. And what I mean by that is she passed a year ago, a year and 4 months and 1 day ago. And what I mean by that is I have a small altar for her that I made. And part of my daily practice is to spend at least 5 minutes with her. And that 5 minutes that I spend with her is generally, I guess for many people, it'd be a form of meditation. So at minimum, 5 minutes a day, I stop, I sit still, I have a conversation with her, either out loud or to myself, and I get my time in with my mom. That's one way. And the second thing that I do is spend time sitting still. A lot of people I know don't take advantage of sitting still. I love sitting still. When I get off work, I don't just hop in my car and drive, just come straight home. I sit in my car. I let today's work day roll off me. I sit and be still. I've also began the practice of sitting still without my phone, because we get caught in that scroll zone. And so sitting still without the phone, listening to more podcasts. Oh man, I've really taken a liking to T.D. Jakes. I've really taken a liking to Eric Worre. I really like E.T. Thomas, Eric Thomas. Man, that the hip hop preacher, whew, he be having a
Mm-hmm.
message. He has a message
Yeah, I
all
like him a
the time.
lot.
Oh man, so that's how I've been taking care of myself. I've steered away from playing loud music. I have a nice sound system in my truck, and I was recently saying how I got this nice sound system in my truck, and now all I listen to is podcasts. So I had to take the sit still. That's my biggest, the main way that I take care of myself is sit still. I'm trying to get right back now. I'm trying to get back on eating better. We at home a lot of the day, so I'm working on eating better, trying to get back into working out at home. But my immediate self care right now is just sitting still, talking to my mom and sitting still, time with myself.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, you can really get in that podcast hole, just like YouTube, and just be sitting forever. So I'm happy that you're taking care of yourself. Has this practice shifted at all during this pandemic? And yeah, like how are you doing with all of that? Are you an essential worker? You said you are, so you're a bus operator. How often do you have to go out and work? And how are you doing with all that?
Oh wow! So I am an essential worker. I work 5 days a week, 9 to 12 hours a day. Depend Fridays, I'm probably out for like 12 hours. And what my I've been handling it very well from what I've been told. And one of the main reasons why is because I refuse to let myself get caught up in this craziness of it all. Like I'm not getting, I refuse to look at news articles about it. I'm not going to watch the news. We know it's there. Every blue moon, something will pop up in my news feed. If it's interesting, I'll read it. But me personally, I'm not going to inundate myself with it. So I'm at work. I take safety precautions as best I can, wearing the mask, wearing the gloves. But I can't. I just simply cannot let myself get inundated with it. When I'm at home, I take the time. We work from home. I take time to enjoy my family. And when I'm not enjoying my family, because keep in mind, we have whole households now that we're all trapped indoors together. So sometimes people have to realize too, it's okay to step away from your family, from the household. That's that whole
Yeah,
sitting
take
by
a walk
myself
on the
thing.
trail, do whatever you need to
Exactly.
do. Go get a
Exactly.
donut. You know what I'm saying? I told my cousin earlier, just go get you a donut or something. He started laughing.
Right.
I'm like, I'm for real. You over here complaining. Go get you a snack that you can have by yourself. You ain't got to share with no kids, with your wife. You can just have
Yes.
a snack. your
Yes.
own your
Exactly.
own individual snack.
Taking time to have something to yourself. There's nothing wrong. You deserve yourself.
Well, thank you so
Plain and
much
simple.
for thank you so much for your service. I'm as essential worker because I know I have a friend that works for BART, and like it's important for the folks who have to get to work or have to get to care for others, right? While we're in shelter in place, for them to have the basic needs of transportation, right? And I don't think a lot of people think about that. I think like some of us are so privileged, we're like just get an Uber or Lyft, but for some folks, they really still rely a lot on our public transportation. So thank you for being an
Right.
essential worker. Please continue to stay safe.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. So before we move forward, is there anything else you would like the audience to know? We're going to jump into our next segment, Boy Talking Hop.
First, take care of yourself. Before you can take care of anyone else, you got to take care of yourself in any way that you possibly can in a positive way. Secondly, your finances are everything. Don't get caught up in, yeah, you have stimulus money. That stimulus money is used to stimulate the economy, so to speak. Don't waste it. Try to invest it the best way you know how. That doesn't include ordering something from online, shoes, clothes, and all that. Make smart choices with your money. Third thing I would like to say is that if you are able to pay your bills right now, pay them, because when we get caught up in deferring payments because of this pandemic, just know that you are increasing the amount of time that you will be in debt to the company. So don't think that just because they're saying defer the payment that it's a good thing. It's only good for right now. If you're able to continue to pay bills on time. And Learn the difference and learn what your companies are offering. Don't just assume that because it's a pandemic, you can't pay your bill. You can just not pay the bill and it's okay. You actually have to talk to your creditors and your lenders and make sure that they have something in place for you. Don't take it upon yourself to not pay a bill and then say, oh, it was a pandemic. That's step one to ruining your credit as well. So keep making payments if you can. If you can't, make sure you talk to your creditors. Don't take it upon yourself to do it.
Thank you for all of that. I guess before we jump into Boy Talking Hop, my last question for you is like, I'm hearing all this stuff from all the financial gurus. Get ready. We going into a recession. Tighten your ship. Stockpile your money. Where do you think we're going with this? Where do you think economically COVID-19 is going to take us? And this is just a prediction, right? Like, we're not saying that this is life, but do you think we're going into a recession? And for folks who have bad credit now, who maybe have lost their jobs, are there some tips you would give them?
Personally, I feel like I think there is possibility for a recession. And one thing that I don't allow myself to get inundated with it. So I would say the more we focus and say recession, the more we say recession, we're bringing it into the atmosphere. So I choose to not jump into recession. I choose to say there's going to be a major shift. And that major shift is going to come in various ways. And I believe that financially, I think that we're going to start relying more on digital currency. Although I've yet to fully venture into foreign exchange and digital and Bitcoin and stuff and those kind of digital currencies, I do believe that we are headed in that direction because the government is giving out so much money that it doesn't have. They're printing money and there's nothing to back it up. So I do believe that we're going to move towards digital currency. For people that are jobless right now or that have gotten laid off or what have you from this, my heart goes out to you, like in the most tremendous way. And don't give up. Don't give up hope. There are still companies that are hiring for at-home workers. I recently saw an article with a list of them. I'll find it and make sure I post it on my social media. But don't give up. Like, if you are hurting right now, make sure you're taking every step possible to take care of yourself right now financially, meaning if your landlords are offering no rent for the month, that is a time when you would take advantage of that. Deferments, take advantage of that. And I would say, if you have the free time, whatever free time you have right now, if you have a business idea, a dream, or anything like that you want, this is a good time to actively work and pursue that. In the meantime, just don't sit around being jobless and being hopeless. You can be jobless and still work towards your future. Become the entrepreneur that you always wanted to be.
So let's jump into Boy Talking Hop. So this is some fun time, right? We're gonna ask you a few questions. You're gonna fill in the blank, whatever comes to mind first. Don't think too much into it. If you want to elaborate a little bit, but you don't gotta go all the way there. I have to always tell people, because then they be, our people, they be all the way on the other side of the world. So my example for you is like, I would be like, love is, and if it was me, I'd be like, love is the most, like, life. That's what I feel like love is, right? So I would fill in that blank. So let's get started. Boy Talking Hop. So my first question for you is, my favorite book is?
Oh, wow, I have so many. 48 Laws of Power and The Four Agreements. And one more. Third book, my favorite book, is Easier Than You Think.
Okay. You like the fours. You like the fours in there. I see that.
I know, right?
Ownership is
belonging to you and no one else. Whether it be your temple as in yourself, whether it be your thoughts, whether it be your property, ownership is for you and no one else.
Beautiful. My favorite food is?
Anything my wife makes. My wife is an amazing cook. And, child, I'm grateful. Anything she cook, I'm eating.
Happy wife, happy life, right? Happy wife, happy life. If I could speak to anyone, dead or alive, it would be blank, and we would do blank.
If I could speak to anyone dead or alive, it would be my great great grandmother. And we would sit in the field and we would talk about the origins of where I come from. I only know my grandmother's side of the family, so I would like to speak to my great great grandmother, who's my grandmother's mother's mother, and learn and hear where we came from.
Beautiful, beautiful. Money is
Energy. It shifts, it moves, it goes, it becomes, it goes. It's just energy in a physical form.
and love is
Everything. Love is everything. Love is what it's everything. To feel love, to give love, to receive love, to know what love is. Love can be painful because if you've been hurt when you've lost love, so love is everything.
And last but never least, Denna is
Denna is human. Forgive me for being human. I am not perfect. I am human.
Thank you, man. Thank you, fam. I really appreciate this. It's been amazing to be around your energy. I found so many similarities. So I would love when we get out of shelter in place to sit down and connect in person. I think it would be cool.
Yes, for sure. My name is Denna Hebert, and I am a boy born obviously incredible. Born obviously incredible.
Thanks for listening to Boy Meets Wellness. Stay connected on and off the show by following us online at Boy Meets Wellness. That's boy with an I. Until next time.